don't favor repatriation at all at the moment, and I favor identification and acknowledgement of origin. You know, I'm not going to jump, but I'm going to do a big parenthesis. There is a treasure called the Mirzaka treasure. I'm not an expert, so I'm just going to say kind of what I know. My father knows a lot more about this. But the Mirzaka treasure is a treasure that was found in a water source near a place called Gardez. And Professor Daniel Schlumberger and Mr. Kozad in the 50s, 40s, 50s, late 40s, 50s, found in that source 13,000 coins from more or less Achaemenid to Kushan, so pre-Alexander the Great and largely post-Alexander the Great. And they did an inventory and they published it and everybody was happy and everybody thought that's where it stopped and everybody went home or moved on. 1982, I believe, and I may be a little off a few years, but more or less, a woman went to the source to get water and she ended up finding a gold coin in her pitcher. So she ran to the village and told them that, and everybody remembered that, you know, 40-some years ago there had been this treasure, so they ran back. Unfortunately, it was already with civil war unrest, and there was a militia there in those days. So they brought a hydraulic pump and they hydraulically pumped out 4.5 tons of gold coins and silver coins, plus 500 kilograms of silverware and goldware, you know, like dishes and so forth. Now, the president at the time, which was President Rabbani, heard of it and sent a team of archaeologists from Kabul to go and see what was happening. But because there was a militia, this is like a James Bond epic thing, right? There was a militia armed and everything. They passed themselves for buyers. So the guys were like, yeah, okay, you can go and check it out. And those guys frantically were taking pictures, were doing rubbings, were drawing. They were trying to like take as much information as possible, you know, to do an inventory, for crying out loud. Because that's the whole thing about taking stuff out of context to use the scientific data, right? And they got caught because they were taking too long. And my dad told me like they were racing with the cars and they almost got killed, and they did lose the camera. They did not lose all the rubbings. I mean, it was super dramatic, right? Eventually, they went back. They didn't get killed. It was really good. Eventually, the treasure would be bought by Pakistanis, which is a trend, I must say. Pakistan and Japan are very much involved in acquiring archaeological goods from Afghanistan. And so the bags of the coins and a lot of the gold and silverware ended up in Peshawar, where it was sold. About 60% of the treasure was sold to the Japanese owner of the Miho Museum.
Yes.
Yeah. So now we could talk, and here I agree with repatriation, although I would caution again, you know, at the moment I would say let's wait and see, you know, but let's clarify the ownership. Now, the big disgusting thing that took place in this affair is that they proceeded to have the treasure published under a different identification, in other words, the second treasure of Oxus. So not only was it stolen, I mean, people were there, people saw it in Peshawar. Somebody took pictures of those in Peshawar in the bags. It's not like people invented this. And still they had the guts, after retrieving it, knowingly that it's not okay to take somebody else's stuff. So they went ahead and they published it as being found in Uzbekistan. I mean, you know, as the second treasure of the Oxus. It's a scandal, you know. So that, you know, right there, you can change that. You can say, by all means, our apologies, let's rectify the record. Because even if the objects don't return right away. Ultimately, they have to return. But if they don't return right away, ultimately, correction has to be made. You know, if it comes from Afghanistan, then by God, say it. That's the minimum of respect amongst human beings, is to be honest. You know? So that's one example. You know, the Mirzaka. But there's plenty more, and there's other more dramatic things that are happening. You know, in this context. For example, because objects are leaving illegally, then the people who acquire them change their identity. They say, oh, it was actually from Pakistan. Oh no, it was actually from Uzbekistan, from India. So then Afghanistan is completely robbed from its, you know, artistic contribution, archaeological, scientific data. I mean, you know, it's a travesty. Or they take an object that is not from Afghanistan and say it's from Afghanistan. So it's not right, because it's not right for all the reasons we mentioned, but on top of that, it's a joke to the general public. Excuse me, but we're all supposed to be educated here, and then you guys are just selling us this nonsense. Where's the truth, you know? So, and then they're fakes. There was, my father showed me a picture of a bodhisattva that was completely redone from parts of 3 different bodhisattvas, and that was sold at the Sphinx in London. It was on the front catalog. I can't remember the year, but I could find out. And he said, see this, the headdress is from statue such and such, and then the necklace, that's not the kind of necklace, that's from another statue, and the head and the torso. And I was like, ah. So then they can sell it, because if they keep the things original, people go like, oh, wait a minute, I think I saw this. Or, are you sure about that? You know, and this is, so they, oh, look at what we found here. And then you have also, of course, like the major contrebande traffic of fakes, where they actually, you know, they will sculpt a carbon copy in schist, bury it in the ground so it ages, because it's kind of hard with rock to be able to tell, not like with wood and ceramics, it's much easier. And so they bury it, and 5 years later, or 2, or I don't know how long they wait, take it out and say, oh my God, look what we found. Here, $50,000 from Afghanistan or Pakistan or whatever, and it's a fake. So, you know, it's, you see all the roadblocks. My father has been very outspoken 20 years ago, or maybe not 20 years ago, yeah, 20 years ago, it's 2009, 1989, yeah, probably, about something that's at the Met, for example, that originates absolutely from Hada, from Tapis Tour. Actually, it's one of his excavations. And in this case, it's an object that has an inventory identity. Again, this is an object that I don't think should be repatriated at the moment. But the catalog indicates that it's probably from Afghanistan, when it's a given that it's from Afghanistan. That's just one word that you can take out of the catalog that makes a world of difference, because it does. There's no uncertainty about this. And it would be good for Afghans to know that, you know, and for the rest of the people. You know, instead of, oh, maybe it's from there, how cool. No, it's, wow, look at that craftsmanship, look at the extent of the work there.